When she said it, she didn't even blink. As if it were effortless, normal, even, to dismiss the man who loved her as nothing more than a punchline. We were folding clothes into her suitcase for a girl's trip when, out of nowhere, she dropped that sentence like a knife aimed straight at my ribs. My friends think you're a joke, and honestly, they're right. For a moment, it felt like the oxygen vanished from the room. She gave a little laugh afterward, brushing it off like harmless teasing, but the glint behind her smile betrayed her. That wasn't playful. That was intentional. She wanted it to hurt. She wanted to feel tall while I shrank. She grabbed her bag and strutted out without noticing how still I went. Without noticing how something cold and heavy settled inside me. The door slammed behind her, and that sound lingered far too long in the empty house. I stood in the hallway wondering when the woman I married turned into someone who needed to belittle me just to feel something. Her words kept looping in my mind, every repetition carving deeper. She'd mocked me to her friends, women who already looked down on me, and she wanted their approval more than she cared about my dignity. At first, it was heartbreak that squeezed my chest. But slowly, another feeling rose. A clearer, sharper one. I realized I couldn't keep living like this. She walked out believing I'd spend the weekend sulking, waiting for her to come home. She couldn't have been more wrong. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't message her. I didn't cling to someone who no longer respected me. Instead, I sat down, breathed, and made the decision I'd been avoiding for far too long. If she saw me as a joke, that was her problem. But I refused to keep playing the role. I opened my laptop and began laying everything out calmly. Bank accounts, joint bills, property, what belonged to whom. I organized it all with the steadiness of someone preparing for a battle that was already finished. She just hadn't realized it yet. With each line I typed, something inside me loosened. I felt lighter, as if invisible weights had finally been cut away. Then I made the call I had been putting off, the real estate agent. The house had been mine before the marriage, still legally mine alone, and I told her I wanted it evaluated and listed discreetly. The appointment was set for the next day. After that, I contacted a lawyer. Told him everything. He said the process would be straightforward, especially with the messages and notes I'd kept documenting her emotional cruelty. I spent the evening packing only what mattered, doing it quietly, deliberately. There was no anger left, no fear, just certainty. It surprised even me how quickly peace replaces pain once you decide you're done accepting disrespect. That night, I slept better than I had in months. No turmoil. No guessing where she was. No feeling like I had to compete with her friends just to be treated like a human being. Morning light slipped through the window, and for the first time in a long while, it didn't feel like the start of another draining routine. It felt like a release. I went for a run, let my thoughts settle, and by the time I got back, the agent had already emailed me the details. Everything was happening quicker than I'd planned, and I found I didn't mind. The faster I stepped away from the life she'd boxed me into, the sooner I could build one that actually fit me. Her messages trickled in slowly, photos from the resort, smiling group shots, captions full of the kind of manufactured joy people post for an audience that doesn't care. But she didn't say she missed me, didn't check in, didn't apologize. Instead, on the second evening, she sent one short message, "Hope you're being productive." The irony nearly made me laugh. I was being more productive than she'd ever believe. I let the message sit unanswered. Silence can say everything when you let it. And that weekend, I learned to use it well. By the day before her return, the agent had sent the draft for the private listing, and the lawyer had delivered the finalized paperwork. Everything was prepared for when she came home. I wasn't anxious or torn. I wasn't even sad. I had spent years offering her grace, swallowing insults, pretending not to hear the comments she made in front of people. But when someone calls you a joke, they reveal exactly how they see you. And once you see that truth, you can't unsee it. I placed the folder with the documents on the dining table, the same one she loved to host her friends around. When she walked in Sunday night, she expected the version of me she'd grown used to, quiet, patient, endlessly forgiving. She dropped her bag, started talking about her trip, then froze when she noticed the folder. "What's this?" she asked, her forehead tightening. I didn't yell. I didn't give a monologue. I just said, the joke is done. The color left her face. She opened the folder, scanned the pages, and I watched her jaw tremble. You're leaving me, she breathed, disbelief coating every syllable. I nodded. You left me long before this trip. I'm just finally catching up. She tried to explain, to dismiss her own words, to blame her friends and claim she was only trying to fit in. But cruelty disguised as a joke is still cruelty. When she understood that I wasn't changing my mind, real fear took hold. She begged me to talk it through, to reconsider, to wait while she tried to be different. But transformation isn't something you scramble for when your actions finally catch up to you. It's something you work at long before you lose someone. When I walked out with my bags, she stood in the doorway, mascara streaking down her face, saying my name like a plea. But I didn't turn around. Not this time. I left her in the silence she once used as a weapon. And as I drove off, something settled inside me, a realization. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is step away from the version of yourself someone else tried to shrink you into. She thought she went on a simple vacation with her friends. But she came home to a life where her words finally meant something.